not doing my commute to the gym today because the gyms are all closed now in England. I think the gyms are all closed. Did a 7-minute workout with my son in the lounge this morning. I don't know who was more out of breath. I haven't done a gym in a while. Anyway, whilst the world is continuing going and operating, I'm still working, so I was thinking, well, basically the project I'm tasked with at the moment is to apply a lot of mobile design to an existing website, or it is a web app, really, not a website. It doesn't have any content. It's a game. Anyway, yeah, I kind of I'm taking the approach that it was designed for desktop, large screen. The mobile designs are good enough that they reuse a lot of the components from the desktop design, but there is some significant kind of layouts. Things like, for instance, the header that's in this project is completely across the top, and that now becomes like a collapsible menu that goes over onto the right hand side. And I tend to take the approach that you can retrofit a lot of mobile design if it's designed in a way that is close enough. But inevitably there's stuff that you do that is just not easy. And I was wondering kind of where people kind of stand on it, whether or not that you would insist on redesigning the actual kind of layout and the structure of the site for mobile first, and then transition to desktop, whether you would even have duplicate bits of code or markup rather. So things like, take this menu, kind of the header and the side loading menu. If it was significantly different from a kind of layout perspective and structural perspective, would you quite literally have that component twice on your markup? I've certainly done that in the past, where I just couldn't kind of restructure van parked on a corner on double yellow lines. Jeez Louise. Anyway, yeah, whether or not you would duplicate it and how far do you go and kind of where the line is, I guess. It's tricky because you don't want to duplicate too much, but because it just, you're bloating the markup really for mobile support or desktop support. Not happily, but maybe bloat the desktop, but don't bloat the mobile. And yeah, I mean, I feel like Flexbox is a great piece of tech, but I feel like I add Flexbox to everything I do now. If I'm adding the CSS property display, it's always going to be Flexbox directly afterwards. I'm not using grid yet. I struggle a little bit kind of getting my head around it, and I think I held back for quite a while because of browser support. And I know browser support is actually very good now, but I'm slow on the uptake, probably not the right word. Anyway, so yeah, I'm using Flexbox for everything, and like for this menu that turns into a header that turns into a menu, I'm using Flexbox and Flex ordering to control exactly where everything appears, and I've got things that like are typically hidden in a pop-up when it's a header, and then I kind of undo that when it comes to mobile. Yeah, so I very much try and take a practical approach to the mobile designs and try and reuse all the structural markup that's there in the first place. And I'd love to hear what other people's opinions on this are. I mean, I would love to be able to start approach this from scratch and start with a clean block of markup, but it's not always practical from a business perspective. This isn't my own project. This is something I'm being paid to look at and paid to do, and they already have years worth of work that's gone into their desktop version, and I can't just go ahead and tell them to rewrite the whole thing. But I mean, in some places I have had to kind of restructure the markup a little bit, just a tiny bit, and then put markup back in, or CSS back in, that kind of replicates it so that it looks exactly the way it did before. Yeah, anyway, let me know your thoughts. Cool, bye.